Welcome to another exciting episode of the program Agric Today. This program is designed to bring to you new happenings and innovations in the world of Agric. I remain your host, Amin Khadija Oluwatoyin. On our train this week, the train took us to the National Assembly where a public hearing was done as regards the proposed amendment on National Biosafety Management Agency Act. Before we go into the details of these and many more other stories we have to bring to you, let's take a quick break, and when we return, you get details. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It is still the program Agric Today on your darling station ARCN television here on terrestrial TV and on YouTube. Our proposed amendment on National Biosafety Management Agency Act is what we'll be looking at, and then this was vehemently kicked against by all relevant stakeholders during the public hearing sponsored by the former Senate leader, Senator Yahya Abdullahi from Kebbi North. The public hearing, which was organized by the Senate Committee on Environment, held at the National Assembly, which was not attended by the sponsor of the amendment bill, Yahya Abdullahi. Abdullahi had in the bill sought strict regulations on foods that are genetically modified in preventing inherent health hazard. He specifically sought for labeling of genetically modified foods in the country for consumers to know the difference between them and the natural ones, and recommended sanctions against the violation of the proposed law. But almost all the stakeholders in the biosafety sector rejected the proposed legislation in separate submissions made. First to kick against it at the public hearing was the Director General of the National Biotechnology Development Agency, NABDA, Professor Abdullahi Mustafa, who said the proposed amendment was unnecessary. According to him, NABDA in particular and other relevant agencies have been carrying out the regulation being sought for in preventing consumption of toxic chemicals by Nigerians. Let's hear from him.
Public hearing on the bill for an act to amend the National Biosafety Management Agency Act 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has passed for second reading the bill for an act to amend the National Biosafety Management Agency Act 2015 and accordingly referred the bill to the Senate Committee on Environment for further legislative action. Pursuant to this, the committee, as part of its legislative process, is organizing this public hearing for the purposes of obtaining expert and technical advice and inputs of all stakeholders, operators, regulators, and practitioners in the field to enable it take an authoritative, well-informed, and effective decision on the bill and report same to the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in full session. The public hearing will culminate in a colloquium and interactive session tomorrow for the examination, harmonization, and distillation of submissions and presentations. We welcome you all to this public hearing and enjoy you to make a robust presentations and submissions that will have a positive impact on safety and environmental sustainability and the protection and preservation of the lives of future generations and our national economy. It is my honor, therefore, to respectfully declare this public hearing open.
I would like to reiterate here that the National Biotechnology Development Agency is an agency of interest to the nation, and it was solidly formed to conduct research and deploy that research for the development of our economy. And anything that will jettison this will now encroach into the national interest. It is very important to note that recently Mr. President has assented to the bill of the National Biotechnology Development Agency, which is an indication that the country has already known the importance of this technology to the nation. And with that, I would like to say that we have reviewed all those submissions with a view to amend the National Biosafety Management Agency law, and we have come with a conclusion as an agency. And this is to say that it is noteworthy that the National Biosafety Management Agency Act, as amended 2019, has been in full force for almost 7 years. It has demonstrated to be fully functional and in line with government policies, no breaches or lack of compliance. The proposed amendment being sought, for example, board composition, timelines, penalties, substituting may with shall, etc., will in no way contribute to the achievements of the goals of the existing Act, as increasing safety to human and animal health, no conservation of biodiversity. NAFDA wishes to unequivocally state that the proposal to amend the National Biosafety Management Agency Act 2015 as amended will negatively affect the gain that Nigeria has made from modern biotechnology practice over the years. Finally, NAFDA is in the view that her response and remarks as presented in the Appendix 1 attached, that is in the document submitted, offer the most promising way forward for the bill. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Distinguished Senator, my colleagues, if this law is amended, it means science and technology will no longer drive our economy. Science and technology are the drivers of the modern world. This current law took 13 years for it to be actualized. It took two National Assembly sections, the 5th and the 6th Assembly, to actualize this law. I will tell you today, distinguished Chairman, this law is not necessary on the following grounds. This law has been adjudged globally as the best law in Africa, biosafety law in Africa. Also, on that note, due to the effective implementation of this law, today we are the chair of African Biosafety Regulators Forum. That is the chairman of all African agencies of biosafety. This law, if amended, 1, the issue of precautionary principle. The law itself is the precaution Nigeria has taken to ensure that the application of modern biotechnology do not impact negatively on the conservation and sustainable use of biological diversity, taking into account risks to human health. This law is adequate, and currently we do not need amendment. It's unfortunate that the National Biosafety Management Agency was not consulted. I appreciate the enormous power vested in the National Assembly to make laws, to amend, and to do otherwise. But I think the government is one. If there should such important law to be amended, the executive that implements the current law ought to have been contacted.
The amendment has been sought by the promoters of the amendment seeks generally to overrate the concern by Nigerians. It pretends to protect Nigerians in the ramifications it was presented. But as a practitioner, I can say vehemently that this technology, having been acknowledged for its potentials the worldwide, including advanced countries, means that has the potential to improve our economy. As being proposed for the amendment seeks to substantially to undo the exploitation of this very important arm of science. Notwithstanding, as practitioners, we carry on with the concerns of members of the public and comply with the current and extant protections granted to the practice of modern biotechnology in this country. Again, as Nigerians also, we feed from the same market and from the same farms. And also, answering the call of Mr. President to leverage on the provisions of science and technology to develop our country, we have taken it upon ourselves to exploit the provisions of this emerging science for the development of our economy. However, substantially the provisions of this amendment, distinguished Senator, Mr. Chairman, seeks to tie all our hands and block away Nigerians from the proceeds of this technology that will improve them. I have, together with my team, have just concluded the release of a cowpea variety that is highly nutritious and is bringing a lot in terms of improving the livelihood of Nigerians. If these amendments go through as they are, having gone through all of them, I haven't seen anything that will add any value to the act establishing this agency. Rather, it is discriminatory, it is restrictive, and also holds the hands of scientists in domesticating the potential benefits of modern biotechnology to the Nigerian people.
The president of All Farmers Association of Nigeria, AFAN, architect Kabiru Ibrahim, also kicked against the bill by saying that Nigerian farmers are up to the task of providing food sufficiency in the country.
Normally in AFAN we start by saying no farmer, no. Great farmer. I stand before you in support of dissuading those people trying to amend the Biosafety Management Agency law. And I have good reasons. The first reason is the attainment of food security in the vast Nigerian population of 200+ million mouths. The professor of biotechnology in this country and a lot of research in IR who stood here as a Nigerian worked on something that is very, very critical in the mental development of our children. That is beans. It is called cowpea, and what he has developed along with his team is called pod borer resistant cowpea. It was launched recently in Kano. I personally planted some on my farm. Normally you spray about 8 times, but with this product I was only forced to spray twice, and it was resistant to drought, and its productivity was high. Normally, from what you have without this genetic improvement, you make less than 1 ton, less than half a ton per hectare. In this, I made more than 2 per hectare. And the potentialities are there for even more. Now, for you to appreciate what is happening, in Nigeria, we have a deficit in cowpea or beans of over 500,000 metric tons. This will not be covered with the situation that we had before this. With this, we can do that and more. And for whatever anybody will say, we are the food basket of Africa, whether anybody likes it or not. Informally, we have been feeding all the countries in this hemisphere. Now there is the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. We will cut a niche if we deploy biotechnology to produce things like beans and other crops that are coming on. I am specific about this release. Now, going to the antis, I was privileged to be every part of the way in the passage of this bill. We had public hearings here, and we passed the bill.
X-raying the proposed legislation from legal angle, the Executive Director of Citizens Advocacy for Social and Economic Rights, Barrister Frank Tete, said accepting the proposal will be tantamount to violation of treaty entered into by Nigeria through the existing act with 172 other countries across the globe.
Mr. Chairman, it will interest you, sir, that 173 countries have ratified the law that has been domesticated, the protocol that has been domesticated as law in Nigeria. The meaning is that 175 countries of this world are in agreement with Nigeria with regards to the law that we have in this country. I will close by making a point as to law, because many of the presenters before me have always wondered why the need for an amendment. Mr. Chairman will submit at the outset that there is absolutely no need for the amendment of this law, but if you wonder why there are clamor for an amendment, is because it's simply opening doors for confusion, and in our presentation we stated opening doors for vexatious and frivolous gold-digging litigation, because when you refer to section 41 of the Act, which refers to the provision on fault liability as against strict liability, it means that somebody only needs to just get headache. Oh, it must be as a result of that being strict liability. And now the purpose in law, strict liability offenses are offenses that require no proof of intention. That is risky. You want to kill the scientists in Nigeria? That is, just turn all of them to criminals simply by accusing them for any headache or any allergy that you have? It's unthinkable. We will close by referring to the fact that an amendment in law and practice is as a result of where there is a mischief, that is, there is a problem. This National Assembly has made laws, especially pursuant to Section 12 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in domesticating international protocols and treaties that have been, particularly the African Charter on Human and People's Rights Ratification and Enforcement Act of 1981, is an act of the National Assembly. For 40 years it has operated. There is no need for an amendment. And inherent in every law that this brilliant National Assembly has made are provisions for the operators of the law to constantly live up to the changing times and tendencies and circumstances. That is why you have provisions for regulations and guidelines, and the National Biosafety Management Agency has done excellently well in providing not less than 10 guidelines in the last 1 or 2 years. We don't want to take your time, sir, but if there's any guess as to why, our submission is that the entirety of the proposed amendment is needless, sir. It is misconceived, it is based, it is inadvertently meant to create confusion, excites gold-digging litigation, stifle progress in the areas of biotechnology, research and development by discouraging scientists from innovations and it's directly against Nigeria's national interest. Biotechnology has helped the entire world. Today we are here without our face mask because of biotechnology progress. SHESCO is doing so much, and here there is an amendment. For 7 whole years, this law has been operated. There is no iota, no complaint whatsoever, because it can only operate according to best practices. Now, amendments are coming to open doors so that the NBMA, which is supposed to be a regulatory agency, not only a regulatory agency, but the final authority on matters of biosafety. So we have persons who are journalists, who are engineers, who are market people, who are investors, who are activists and gold-digging litigators, now looking for ways to open, opportunities to truncate the work of the NBMA. As someone with experience in public interest litigation, I see all of this here as an invitation to creating confusion in the biosafety system. I don't want to go through to the benefit of biosafety. It is the hope of this country, and this National Assembly has seen it long ago that 29 years it made a law to promote it. And it's not only biotechnology, but genetic engineering indeed. This law should be thrown away and not be considered in any way. It is antithetical to national interest. It is against progress. It is backwardness. It must be rejected.
There's a saying that says you don't fix what is not broken. And I say this on account of the fact that Nigeria was the first country in sub-Saharan Africa to really make good progress around biosafety regulation. And we've seen through that process 3 crops come through, BT cotton, PBR cowpea, and very soon BT maize. And throughout that process, we've not heard of anything that has gone wrong in that process. And this is why I'm imploring us to reflect on that saying that you don't fix what is not broken. Nothing is broken in as far as biosafety regulation is concerned in Nigeria, and there shouldn't be attempts to really fix what is not broken.
It's still the program Agric Today, and I want to believe that you're enjoying how the program is rolling by. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll bring you more details. Stay tuned. You're still on to the program Agric Today, and we have been extracting the public hearing on the Biosafety Act held at the National Assembly, and some of the committee members from the Vice Chairman, Senator Hassan Adeja, who acted as the chairman in absence of Senator Ike Ekweremadu, who is in trial in London, to the ordinary members like Senator Nachi Michael, kicked against the bill by saying that preponderance of the views will decide its fate. That's how we wrap it up on the program Agric Today for this week. I hope these brought you some insight as to what the happenings are on the Act. Stay tuned, we'll bring you updates as the National Assembly resumes after its recess, after which we'll hear from the floor if this Act is going to scale for the second reading. I remain your host, Amin Khadija Uluwatoyin. Catch ya.